Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine.
Welcome to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show. We want to welcome you back to this program, and we have a great guest today. And I am your host, Lee Martin, and co-host Florence Myers-McSwine. So Florence, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Lee.
And I tell you, it's nice to do well. And I'm glad that you're all doing well. And this guest we have today, I'm looking very much forward to our conversation with her. And so today our guest is all the way from the state of Ohio, and her name is Miss Yvette Shackleford. And welcome to the show, Miss Shackleford.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, you're more than welcome, Lawrence.
Now, Yvette, now
Yes.
you are a recent subscriber to NFB Newsline, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Actually, my twin sister told me about it, and she, it's Dr. Yvette Simmons-Reed, and she told me all what I could, publications that I could get, and I thought it was great because she knows I'm an avid reader, love to read, and that's something that you miss when you lose your vision. So newspapers, I love politics. I like to keep up with what's going on in the world as far as, concerning, our because we're in some troubled times. And then the vendor scope that Lee mentioned to me, I'm a blind vendor. So that would be of interest of what's going on in around the world country as far as being a merchant. So those are some of the things that I thought that I could benefit from. Plus, home and garden and some of those other tips and ideas.
As NFB Newsline, there's various ways. I just want to just let you know, since you are a new subscriber, there's various ways that we access this audio information service. For instance, I use an iPhone, so I've downloaded the app so that I can access the service. There's the A-Lady, I like to call her. There's the Victor Reader Stream, the digital player from the Talking Book and Braille Library, of course, the computer, Android phone, and the landline. So these are various ways that we access this free audio information service. Now, there's also, you mentioned the magazines and newspapers. Now, we have access to so many newspapers and magazines. Great. So I think that you're in for a treat, Yvette.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
And
Lee?
Yeah, I'd like to interject there that there's so much on there, so many different categories we have with our information sources. One of those is breaking news, and that's taken from a web feed that we receive on a daily basis. 24 hours a day, is updated every hour. And some of those publications on the breaking news, in the breaking news category, is there's a total of 44 publications, and you got the ABC News, Advocate Magazine, Bloomberg, CBS News, CNN, The Daily Beast, ESPN Online, ESP Online. There's Fox News and Huffington Post. Many things on there, Medical Express, just so much on there. And one of the latest publications on there that I particularly care for is called Root. And it's a great publication, ethnic publication. And I would say check that out. That's a very good publication, Root. So we had, in your state of Ohio, there's a specific channel information that you can read to find out different resources that are in your area throughout the state of Ohio. So you got plenty of publications from other states. There's over 500 publications. We also have national publications such as the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, and forth going on more and more. We're moving forth with all of this. And then there's also the international news line, and where we have international publications such as the Daily Mail United Kingdom is a heavily read publications, Financial Times, Globes Israel, and that's interesting right now with all that's going on in Israel. And you got the Guardian and the India Times, a lot going on in India right now. So those are just a few of the publications that we have. I know we have the magazines, and one of Florence's favorite is the AARP magazine. And then there's also a Diabetic Forum and Diabetic Forecast, Health and Fitness, and you get publications in there for a lot of our youth. So there's something in there for everybody, from students, adults, youth, and seniors, and veterans. So you're going to enjoy reading
sounds great.
The NFB Newsline service. And we're here to help you with any of your questions, to get you onto the service. You received your ID and security code and your local dial-in number or toll-free number, and you're just about set and ready to go.
Yes.
So we'll be right here if you got any questions. So we're going to take a short pause, and we're going to come right back with you, and we'll be able to talk a little bit about your reality. So everyone, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
Welcome back to this segment of the National Federation of the Blind Newsline, Indiana. And we have our guest again, Miss Yvette Shackleford from Ohio. And Yvette.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about you. Where were you born? And a little bit about your early life.
Okay. Well, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. My twin sister and I are the youngest of 11 children. I have 9 sisters and 1 brother. And we brought up like any typical family. My twin sister and I were premature at birth. So we're the only actually ones with the blindness or whatever. I could see when I was young. I went blind when I was about 21. We did pretty much try to, our parents were really tried to keep us as normal as possible. You know, our siblings, we learned to cook and do all that kind of stuff at home, and did pretty much typical things that the kids do. But as far as our schooling and stuff, my parents took us out of school. I can't remember actually when we were in elementary, because my father didn't feel that we were getting the services that we needed. He insisted because of our prematurity, we put us in an incubator and they didn't cover our eyes. So at that time back then in 1968 and all that, the light from the incubators affected our eyes, and that's the reason why we both have the vision issues that we have. But my father took us out of school at a young age, trying to get the school system to, accommodate our needs. And when he when we were able to get back in school, we were mainstream, they called it back then. And we pretty much, had a class that we would go to get help, with documents or any paperwork we needed to do, or an assistance in enlarging things and all that. My twin sister went blind when we were 9. She lost her total vision. Again, I told you I didn't lose mine until I was 21. I got married when I was at a young age. I got married in 16, my first marriage, and he was in my husband was in the military and went on and moved to Louisiana at the early age. I had a son, and pretty much lived there for about a year or so, and then moved back to Cleveland, and got a continued to try go to school. I wind up getting my GED, and tried to take care of my kids. Got a divorce at a young age, got a divorce when I was about 20, 21, and just continued. That's when I wind up getting into business enterprise programming and able to take care of, at that time, then I had another son, and to take care of my children. And so, that's how I wind up getting interested in the business enterprise program, just trying to provide for my kids.
Well, that's a very interesting journey right there,
Yes.
particularly being a young mom. And then at what age did you ended up having more sight deficiency?
When I was 21, right around the time when I separated from my first husband, I started to have visual issues. Actually, when I was living in Louisiana, I started to have a retina detachment, and the military flew me to Washington, D.C., and I was at the Walter Reed Hospital. They did some surgery, and the surgery the surgery was successful, but because the nurses moved me around, it's like an air bubble operation. They moved me around, and the doctor didn't want you supposed to be flat. You're not supposed to move. Or anyway, the nurses kind of ruined the procedure. So at that time, the military sent me to Bethesda. They took me over, and I had another surgery, which it was like a silicone, which I got some of my vision back. And because I think probably failed to mention that I went blind in my right eye at the same time my twin sister went blind at the age of 9. But in my left eye, I could still see out of. But anyway, I got some vision back. And, but due to probably some years, I'm trying to think, for about around when I was about 21, I wound up getting a blood clot in the back of that eye. So that was the reason why I lost the vision, the vision that I had gained, I should say, back in that eye. But
there's a lot of questions there that I know we don't have time to
I
go
know
through
I'm
it
kind of
all.
all over the place.
No, there's a lot of questions there that come to my mind as being a spouse at that time of a veteran and going through that during that particular time. And as a spouse, and I know that some veterans listen to this program. Now, was your as a spouse, were you eligible for any benefits?
At the time when I was married to him, I would get the military support that wives we receive. And it was helpful. But when we divorced, I no longer was able to receive any of that.
Okay.
One of your eyes at the age of 9, as your twin sister
right
did.
eye. Yeah, my right eye. It was at the same time my twin sister was going through surgery. For her, I woke up one day and I just couldn't see out of my right eye. And when my parents took me to the doctor, they were pretty much saying there was nothing that they could do. So, due to the retina detachment and all that. So you know, I went on to just depend on that left eye to, you know, to read and do everything that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now, as a mother and losing your sight when you went total, how did that impact you at that point in time?
It had a big impact, but through the grace of God, I was able to see both of my children before I lost my vision. And it was wonderful. It was an adjustment, but it was an adjustment that my parents prepared me for, because again, my twin sister had already lost her vision. And so pretty much we did everything together. My parents wanted me to learn Braille, even though I could see. They wanted me to, you know, we went to school together. And so we pretty much did everything together. So I would say, knew what to expect. Now, as far as once I lost a vision, you know, when you have children, you don't have time to being down or depressed. Yeah, I guess I would say I just accommodated, you know, just did what I had to do to continue to take care of my kids and do what, you know, was necessary. And our kids are, once, you know, you have kids and you have, you're blind or have visual issues, your kids adapt pretty well. They're used to it. So whatever it is that, you know, I needed, you know, I think the one thing that I had to teach my kids is, just because mom's in this room in the dark, you don't have to be in the dark. Turn a light on, son. You know what I mean? Because your kids seem to forget, because there's, you know, that they can see, you know what I mean? So I think those are some of the, you know, the little funny times that we've had with our kids, as far as, you know, but you know, our kids, you know, are really are great.
Well, we're going to take us a short break and come back. I know Florence has a question there for you. So we're going to take a short pause, and we're going to come right back and continue with your reality.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I am a CFP practitioner, and I happen to be blind. I rely on NFB Newsline to keep me current with Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Okay.
Welcome back to this segment of the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana. And we're talking with Yvette Shackleford in Ohio. And Yvette,
Yes.
In your transition into blindness, at what point, well, let me put it this way, your mobility. Now, were you using a white cane, or did you prefer a service animal?
Actually, I preferred a service animal. I went to get a service animal when I first, before I actually got into, after I got into the vending program, I went to get a service animal to help me with my independence, to help me with my, you know, children and stuff. But I prefer a service animal over, at this time I'm using a white cane because my, the last service animal I had was actually hit by a car. So I just never had the heart to go back, but I prefer the service animal. It just gives you, it's like night and day. It gives you so much more independence.
Now, what school did you go to retain the service animal?
I went to Pilot Dogs here in Columbus, Ohio, and actually you stay about a month. I think that's the average or everywhere. When you first train, when you go back, when you get another dog, usually they, you know, you only have to, it's just 2 weeks, but I stayed a month. And it was actually, you know, a great place. You know, they were really helpful. You know, the dogs are really good.
Okay. So do you have to have cane travel skills prior to receiving a service animal?
Yes, I believe that they prefer you to have some type of skills, which I did have some cane skills and stuff like that. But they really work with you well as far as, traveling and all that while you're there at the school and stuff like that, making sure that you can cross the street safely and all that kind of stuff. But I think having some type of skills and being independent it's necessary.
Okay.
You mentioned that you use your service animal as far as with your BEP. Now tell us a little bit about this BEP program.
Okay, I got into the BE program right after I was divorced, and actually I was in it when I met my current husband. It's actually it used to be called Rehabilitation Service Commission. Now it's called Ohioans with Opportunities for Ohioans with Disability. But when they brought this to me, my counselor, we was trying to figure out what kind of job would be best for me and what I would fit. He brought the program up. I mean, he said, well, you can, you would run like cafeterias or snack bars or do vending machines. And the first thing I thought of is, I don't want to be waiting on nobody. I don't want, just first thing you thought of like a waiter or whatever. Well, he introduced me to another blind vendor who used to be she was a retired nurse. She lost her vision, so she went into the program. And her name was Norma, and I went to meet her she ran the courthouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Not the courthouse, I'm sorry, City Hall in Cleveland, Ohio. It was a cafeteria. And actually I went to meet her and spent the day with her. And I was just so inspired about what she did, and she told me all about the program and everything. And this was in the early 90s, and I decided to get into the program and was trained and went to different locations and trained at different like snack bars. They have snack bars and they call it wet bars, cafeterias and all that. They give you experience in different things, and once you are licensed, you are licensed to bid on any location throughout Ohio. And so that's what I did. In my first location, I actually had the Cleveland Public Library, and it was a snack bar. And, and it actually really allowed me to, it's entrepreneur, it's your business, and you have to follow the laws and everything that you would do in any other business owner. And it's allowed me to really be able to raise my kids and be independent, contributing citizens to society. I mean, it's actually very rewarding.
Well, tell me, I hear your journey there in the business enterprise program, and you have gone to certain heights within that program. I know
Yes.
our time is getting a little short,
okay.
But you want to tell us about what you're doing right now with that program? Okay. How far have you come?
Well, I actually been in the program for 30 years. And I have the location that I currently have. It's a cafeteria, which it didn't start off that way. Actually, I bid on a what they call a C-store, which is like a convenience store, on a military base at the Defense Supply Center of Columbus. And we serve all military people and government workers. I'm in the accounting building, the DFAS building. And about in 2013, I had been there since 2004. And they asked me to, 2007, I'm sorry. They asked me, would I come down and run their cafeteria, because they couldn't find anybody, move my store downstairs. Make a long story short, I moved that store downstairs. It was just a convenience store. We built it up to wherein I had opened up the kitchen, had a cafeteria, had substation, pizza station. It just grew into the business that it was the day before the pandemic. Right now, the pandemic has affected everything. We've been closed since March of 2020, and they're slowly reopening. We're trying to see right now. They're teleworking. We're trying to see where we are. But I grew that business I had 11 employees, and we just work from like 5:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the evening every day. And so it was just nonstop going. I guess the pandemic has, allowed us to slow down a little bit and just like, whew, I did all that. Because you don't, when you're in the middle of it and you're just trying to keep everything going, you don't really take the time to, the hustle and bustle. When you're in the rat race, you just continue to just keep moving,
Well, through hard work and perseverance,
yes.
you have one of the most successful businesses there for a blind enterprise program
yes.
there in Ohio. And
yes,
congratulations on that. So we're going to take a short pause and come back with our conclusion of this program. How time flies. So we'll be right back.
I just graduated college as a blind student. How can I independently find job listings?
Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
It is a fantastic service.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
Welcome to the conclusion of our show. And Yvette, do you have any words that you would like to leave for someone who might be interested in the BEP?
Yes, I think that anyone who have an entrepreneurial spirit and likes to, pilot their own business and have those kind of aspirations. I think that the BEP program is a great opportunity. I think that for African Americans, even though, I believe the program needs to be more diverse, I think that it would be a good opportunity for them to people to come in and show your skills. I mean, it's a rewarding feeling.
Thank you for watching our show, listening and viewing audience, and we will see you again next week on the National Federation of the Blind Newsline, Indiana, where we can live the life we want.
National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.